Ladies and gentlemen, to Senestech's channel, an agricultural biotechnology life science company managing animal population through fertility control. We're going to be focusing on, obviously, the extermination of rats, talking about the broader city exposure and this nuanced idea that, Senestech is operating in to resolve this issue. Firstly, Joel, the Chief Executive Officer, is going to be taking us through this today, so welcome, sir.
Thank you. Glad to be here again.
Always a pleasure getting you on, man. So let's get right into this. Recently, the news was full of the New York City mayor appointing a rat czar and about the challenge of the rat czar faces. So let's talk about rats. Does New York City have the worst rat problem? And do you want to just kind of explain what rat czar is?
Well, New York certainly has a huge challenge in trying to address the rat problem there, particularly as they try to keep doing the same things over and over that have really not worked in the past. They must be more concerned with population control. Toxic methods only cannot keep up with the rat reproduction. We do hope the new rat czar proves open to newer, more proven techniques like fertility control. And the czar was hired to put their population control and their rat control into a central point and make it citywide. So we're really hoping that we can succeed with them. But back to your question, a major pest control company, Orkin, they publish an annual list of the rattiest cities in America. New York City is not the number one rattiest city in the US. It's number 3 on the list. Chicago holds the dubious honor of being the rattiest city in the US, which is probably not a surprise to most Chicagoans. Unfortunately, like New York City, Chicago seems stuck in place using the same techniques that haven't worked in the past. They aren't working now and probably won't work in the future. The number 2 spot on the rattiest cities list is Los Angeles, which might be a surprise to some. Unlike Chicago or New York, Los Angeles is open to trying newer yet proven techniques like fertility control. Both the city and the county of Los Angeles have successfully deployed ContraPest, and we've seen expanded sales in and around the city of Los Angeles. Another city in the top 5, San Francisco. Like Los Angeles, San Francisco's adding ContraPest to their IPM programs, and Silicon Valley nearby is as well. It seems that California is once again leading the way on innovation, focusing on population control. So getting back to New York City, we have to hope that the new rat czar is taking note.
Now, you must have some wild and surprising rat stories. You want to share a couple of those? I'm sure you've been around the block with these, this industry.
Well, maybe a little wild, but not always surprising. Our best story is when a technician reported back to us that he opened up a ContraPest bait station and he found a whole family living there. They love the product so much that they want to be near the source at all times. So that took him by surprise. But there's some other things. I recently read an article about someone, and probably there are a lot of people who've had this. They took their car into the mechanic when it wouldn't start. And the reason it wouldn't start because they had a bunch of chewed wires in their engine and other areas. And it was all done by rats. So, one mechanic in New York City actually remarked, I see new cars, old cars, everyone is coming in now with these rat problems. It brings me a lot of business, but it's disgusting. And they're just destructive by nature. They're incredibly destructive of the infrastructure. There was a Cornell study done, says that rats cause $27 billion in infrastructure damage annually in the US. A lot of that is the damage to wiring by rats chewing. And that's why we were originally asked to deploy ContraPest into a subway. We were told that the rats could cripple the system by chewing through wires and the control panels. And it's why a bus maintenance yard also did deploy ContraPest. So there are very similar stories. Rats destroying power plants wiring, an electrical worker opening up a manhole cover and finding it crawling with rats. So, we tend to think of rats from a public health perspective or food security for sure, but the infrastructure aspect to rat infestations is huge. And so once again, population control is a key to effective overall control.
Now, do you want to discuss the public health aspect of this? I mean, rats are a vector for a number of public health risks. Do you want to just kind of expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So rats can, as many know, can carry rabies. They harbor the fleas that caused the Black Plague in Europe, leptospirosis, and typhus or other diseases that are spread by rats. Hantavirus has a rat version as well. In fact, Pest World estimates that rodents spread more than 35 diseases. So any handling of rats, whether dead or alive, should be done with proper personal protective equipment. Some of the rat infestation treatments also have public health issues. Non-target species toxicity, that refers to when rodent rat poison harms something other than a rat. It could be via direct and accidental ingestion by a child or a pet. It could be when a predator is poisoned by an effective rat. For example, when an eagle would eat a rat and the rat has poison in its belly, it affects the eagle. So that's why the EPA, the NIH, some other agencies recommend extreme care in the deployment of rat poison, and why California banned the use of second-generation anticoagulant poisons. So the toxic treatments are considered restrictive use only or for use only by professionals. In fact, the EPA asked one of the manufacturers to phase out the production and sale of decon product to consumers. So one thing I want to get clear, though, is we are not anti-poison. We will just note that an integrated pest management program works better with ContraPest added. We have proven that. Further, population control utilizing fertility control will allow more controlled use of other lethal methods. And that's a good thing.
Now, from that restricted use case, because as you're saying, there's a lot of toxicity that comes with a lot of the current population controls it is, but with ContraPest, is that tool only licensed for pest control professionals, or is it just general populative use and you can just pick it up or order it online?
So it's not restricted use at all. It's considered by the EPA and 49 states to be a general use product. And that means that there's no restriction on the sale and use of ContraPest. The safety record on ContraPest is such that the EPA removed restricted use years ago. So now anyone who wishes to take control of their own pest control can do so. And any pest control company can deploy ContraPest without extreme protective measures. And so, by the way, I know you wanted to ask, but you can buy ContraPest at ContraPestStore.com. ContraPestStore.com, get your order in.
On that note, I'll pass the question off to the viewers. We'd love to know what you think about this conversation in that comment section below, and consider subscribing, because when news hits the wire, we're going to update you on Senestech, the overhanging brand of ContraPest here, and continue to evolve this story. But on that, as always, we look forward to catching you in the next one.
All right, thank you.